Hello, everyone, and welcome to Partner Up on Upgrade TV. My name is Boyo. I am your host for today. And of course, I have the amazing Amanda in the house. Hey, Amanda.
Hi, girl. I'm really excited about today's episode. Really, really.
Super excited. So, today we have an amazing episode ahead for you, and we're diving into a very important topic that is very relevant to anyone that is stepping into a new role, especially with those high expectations, those intense targets that you get, those intense KPI. Our topic today is new job, my target. And my co-anchor, Amanda, is here. Please, Amanda, tell us.
So, we're about to enter a new hiring season.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are going to be getting their dream jobs, and dream jobs come with expectations, deliverables, KPIs. And we're going to go right into that on this episode with someone who is very knowledgeable about those. But wait, before we go in, follow us on Instagram, partnerup_AB World. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Upgrade TV, on YouTube.
Thank you. Absolutely. So the thing now I want you guys to do as you guys are watching this, last week's episode was amazing. And today we've brought awesome. I mean, you would like the conversation we're about to have today because it's going to help you and help every other person that is, involved in this. So what we want to do now is as you're watching, I need you to put on the comment section. Tell us where you're watching us from. If you have feedback regarding our past episode, you can also please impute it. We would love to hear from you. Amanda, let us break down this conversation today. New job, my target. Tell me, what was your first thoughts around it?
Okay, so this topic was very personal to me. We've been in a corporate, you've also run a business, and everything comes with expectations. And then there's that fear of falling below expectations, especially when you've built a personal brand,
Yeah.
people know you for something, and then you get this senior role with a lot of pressure. How do you deliver?
How do you deliver?
Digital channels are not even working as they used
Oh
to.
my gosh.
Your ads are not, you're not performing.
Yeah.
So how do you really get the numbers? And then this is numbers in terms of profits, in terms of customers, downloads, users. So it can be really intense.
Right.
And we want to really help people who are going to be starting new roles or who are even in new roles and just figuring things out.
The question I want to ask you a question from
Okay.
your own experience because I know that you have my time today. From
Yes.
your own experience, what is the first thing you would do when you get a new job and the target is like insane?
I think before I even start focusing on the targets at a new job is I try to win the internal team over. I think that's the first thing. So
Yeah.
Buki mentioned last week about understanding the politics, and people don't understand that emotional intelligence is almost as important as your hard skills.
True.
So the first thing is you're coming into a new environment just to make sure that you really fit into the work environment, the team structure, understanding what or how things were done before,
Yeah.
before you now come up with your own suggestions and things to make things better.
My own there. Hey gosh. I think there was a time I experienced typically when you get the CV, or rather you send your CV, you get the JD. In your head you're like, I can do this. You know what you're capable of doing. You go through the interview, you get through, you've gotten your offer, you've resumed, and then the reality of the target sets in, like, okay, you have to get 100,000 subscribers in the next 3 months, or you have to get 5 billion naira in revenue in the next 3 months. And a lot of the time some people do not have that. Who do they ask? What is the best way to achieve those targets without you getting really scared? I'm not usually afraid of targets. I mean, I used to work in a bank. I know banks, you're always throwing numbers around, right? And whenever they give us a target, in my head, I'm always thinking, like you said, who in the organization can help me achieve this better? Because before you got into the team, or before you joined the team, there was
There was an
already something.
existing
Yeah,
structure.
there was already existing structure. And I believe that the reason why you were hired is because they wanted you to come and sprinkle your own elements or your own magic into the job. So I know that the conversation we're having with our guest today is going to be very helpful because even me, so I'm here to learn. You know me now. If you are stressing me, I will run away. But me running away is not because I can't do it, but it's mostly because maybe when you join the job, you realize it wasn't a good fit. And if you realize it's not a good fit, the best thing you need to do is take a bow And find your square root.
And then if you're still in the ring and you're fighting, so I have a little secret that works for me, and it's something that I've read maybe somewhere in business school. It's about chasing elephants, chasing mice. So everyone wants this major client that's going to bring in 10,000 customers at a go, or 10,000 signups at a go. And then you have the smaller clients. So I try to, my strategy is I don't go only for the high end customers. I try to have a mix of both, because we know how it goes in B2B.
Yeah.
It takes a really long time to really sign those life
Those big
changing
ones.
contracts, and you still need to sign some other smaller deals that at least keep the ball rolling, or just to gain some momentum. So that's a strategy that I use personally when it comes to customer acquisitions. I go for some easy targets, some mid-range targets, and then long term I start almost
Big
early on
wins.
immediately.
Another thing that I also learned is the relationships that you've been able to build in your past role would be so useful to you in your new role. You have no
Relationships.
idea.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
sometimes I'll start searching for somebody's phone number and I'm like, I spoke to this person in this company 2 years ago and now I'm in a role that I need this person. Mostly if you're changing sectors. Because I remember there was a time I moved from the banking, financial services sector to insurance, and I met somebody in insurance a long time back, but I didn't see the need to, keep that contact because I'm like, insurance, I won't be working there. I found myself working in the insurance industry and I needed those contacts because quick wins when you get a new job is pretty important, mostly when you don't know where to turn to. And I'm really glad we're using this platform to highlight, conversations around partnership. And, interestingly, our guest also has an amazing
Not just also. Our guest is somebody that I would say partnership.
Yeah.
I was joking with him that I searched partnerships on LinkedIn, and his profile was one of the top ones that popped up. So that's how long our guest has spent in this industry. I know we just started using partnership as a title,
Yeah.
but our guest, Vir-Bon, he's been doing this for a long time, and I know he has a wealth of experience that we can definitely tap into.
Amazing.
Wait,
Okay.
we're about to go on break now?
Yes. Let's pay some bills. We'll be right back.
Looking to take your business to the next level through partnerships? Then join us every Thursday at 10 a.m. for Partner Up.
Whether you're an entrepreneur, marketing, sales, or partnership professional, Partner Up is here to give you the tools you need to succeed.
From in-depth interviews with industry experts
to real-world case studies of successful partnership strategies that drive innovation and business growth.
we dive deep into what it takes to form successful partnerships.
Thursdays, 10 a.m.
Don't miss Partner Up.
Welcome back, everyone. So before we go deeper into the conversation, we'd like to take a few minutes, seconds to just ask, how are you doing? Wellness is important as a professional for long-term success. You can't do anything if your health or your mental is affected. So in the long run, you need to take care of those things,
100%.
mental and physical well-being.
Yes.
And before we go further,
Maybe.
Vir-Bon is
Hi.
here.
Hi, Vir-Bon.
Hi.
How are you
Amanda.
doing
Hi,
today?
Laura.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having
So,
me.
just to give you a brief background of what we're trying to do, this segment is, we call it Wellness Check. And I always love to explain it because I want it to be a compulsory thing for everyone who is an entrepreneur, who is working. In fact, so far as you're a human being that you're alive, you need to take wellness check. You know when you get into your office and you know that your G that you have to say hi to, that you ask how was your weekend, people that you really care about, that conversation needs to be amplified because sometimes we just ask the question based on surface level, how are you? But on this show, we really want to know how you're doing. because you cannot go to the hospital for something that you know that you can actually sort out by talking to people about it. Quick story. I was working in an organization one time that I was going through a lot of stress, and I was having migraines. I couldn't sleep, and I had to go to the hospital. We did all the tests, and the doctor said there was nothing wrong with me, that he might recommend me to go and see a psychotherapist. I almost ran mad.
So is this a target-induced migraine?
Yes, it was.
I'm just wondering.
Yes, it was.
Okay, so how are you?
I am very well, thank you.
Okay.
I am very well.
Okay, so we're talking about new job, mad targets, and now we're still checking on how you're doing. But first thing, can you teach us how to pronounce your last name? I've
Please.
avoided saying that on air. So can you just give us the name?
All right, okay. So my first name is pronounced Vir-Bon. Then my last name is pronounced Ovbiagele,
Ovbiagele.
Ovbiagele. Where are you from?
Edo State.
You see, it's not my people. You see, it's my people.
I had accused
Amanda.
Alero of not being able to pronounce this name.
Oh my God.
I had accused her that
I'm from
how dare
Warri
she get
now.
lost.
It's okay.
But it's lovely to have you.
Thank you for having
I'm
me.
not taking you. I'm fine. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
No.
We want to go deeper,
We need
please.
to. How are you, really?
Okay. I would say the weather has been cold, rainy in the last few days. But overall, it's the mindset that's important. So
Yes.
I'm very positive.
Okay, sweet. I want to ask one question.
Yeah.
Have there been any time that you were not mentally fine
Oh,
or mentally
100%.
strong, and you have things to do? How were you able to get yourself out of bed whenever you're not strong enough to get your job done?
That's a very good one. So first off, when that happens, I just take a step back first. I need to know, why am I even doing what I'm doing in the first place? Definitely there's a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I love what I'm doing. So that motivation alone gets me out of the bed every morning. It can be quite challenging, that's true.
Love it.
Especially in Lagos. You just don't want to do anything.
Right.
But we have to.
Thank you.
Yes.
Let me ask Amanda. How are you doing, my darling?
Let me just say, there's a trend here. If you're a partnerships person, you just know that you have to be positive.
You just have to.
You've already seen from Vir-Bon, things would be happening.
Yeah.
But you have to have a positive demeanor. You have to be optimistic about life.
Absolutely.
Because you're chasing things. You can't be chasing things
True.
with a negative outcome at the back of your mind.
I agree.
So yes, a lot of things are happening. I know we look very beautiful today, but there are always things happening in life. And I had this epiphany over the weekend. What it was for me is that, do you realize that even if God answered all your prayers today, tomorrow there'll be a new problem?
Facts.
Yes.
it was like a light bulb
Facts.
moment.
Yeah.
Like if all my problems got solved today, like every single thing on my prayer,
There'll be a new
request,
one.
tomorrow there'll be a new one.
Yeah.
I tell you.
So now it's just Hakuna Matata.
Yes, so
like
c'est la vie.
I'm not ignoring the difficult situations, but I just have it in mind that as long as you're alive, you're always going to be striving for something or going through
100%.
something, and I can't allow that darken my entire outlook.
True.
So that's the epiphany I had. So
Lovely.
before we go on, don't be swayed by Vir-Bon's calm demeanor. He's a powerhouse.
Like,
I'm going to read his citation.
please.
Vir-Bon Ovbiagele. I didn't get that.
It's okay.
A dynamic partnership professional who has spent the past decade transforming how businesses collaborate and grow. As the visionary co-founder of the Partnership Alliance, we're going to talk more on that today, he leads a thriving global community that turns strategic partnerships into engines of growth and innovation. At Verve International, Vir-Bon spearheads market expansion initiatives across Africa and beyond, bringing his signature blend of strategic thinking and hands-on leadership to one of the continent's most innovative payment companies. Everyone here has heard of Verve. His natural ability to connect corporate powerhouses with agile startups has resulted in groundbreaking collaborations that continue to reshape the fintech landscape. Beyond his professional achievements, Vir-Bon is deeply passionate about nurturing the next generation of partnership professionals. Whether he's mentoring emerging professionals or leading high-impact projects, his commitment to fostering growth through collaboration is evident in everything he does, as he continues to champion the power of strategic partnerships in driving business success.
I love this.
I don't know. This sounds like the bio of one of a co-host on this show.
Honestly.
Because what I really like is this is not just lip service.
Yes.
He's really passionate about nurturing the next generation of partnership professionals. Because as soon as I reached out talking about this program and what the topic was, he said, "Oh, give me a minute to think about it," and he's here.
Yes.
And it just shows that partnership is something that's actually important to you. So I just want to say thank you for making it down
Thank
here.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, I want to ask one question before we dive into the bunch of questions we have.
Okay.
Can you tell us your history of how you got here? Because my own journey spans out from customer care, sales manager, business development manager, then I moved to marketing, and then now partnerships.
Interesting.
So tell us, how did you arrive at the role partnerships?
Very good question. So it has a bit of semblance to yours.
Interesting.
So my first ever job out of school was a contact center representative.
Same.
I did that for a couple of months. Eventually found myself in the fintech space, still customer success. However, there was a need in the company. We were expanding, we were growing. We needed to start a new product, and the company needed a new team to handle that product. But of course, new team with different responsibilities. So during that period, I already transitioned from customer success to products. I was doing products for a while, and then the company was like, "Okay, so let's assemble a team. Okay, you'll be the ones to champion this product." And that was how my journey into partnership started.
Love
So
it.
that was my first ever role as partnerships
It
person.
seems like a similar experience because for me too, at Sterling, we wanted to build a card product, and they needed to get partners on that card, and that's basically how I started doing partnerships. Interesting. So let me dive into the main question. I had to ask that because the reason for this show again is for the individuals who are in partnership, who are in marketing, who are in this space of reaching out to brands and partners, to actually understand what the journey is like. If you're even new and you're curious about the partnership industry, this is a show that you need to listen to that can help you. So my question now is, have there been a high pressure role with intense target that you've actually had? Like, what is the first thing that you need to do when you step into a new role that is high targeted?
Very interesting question. So I would say this: new role, number one, just take a deep breath first. You will figure it out, right? So for new role, first off, when you start, it's important to understand what the organizational needs are. Why are you in the role in the first place? What do they need the role for, right? Then the next thing for me, I would say, who are your stakeholders? Who are those people you need to achieve whatever those targets are? No matter how the target is, you need people to achieve that. And we're talking of stakeholders, internal and external. So could it be you need guys in product to build something for you to make it easy? Would you need marketing to push a certain drive or something? Would you need guys in customer success to do those extra follow-ups for you? Those are things you need to find out. Once you have those bases figured out, then I think you should be fine.
Amazing.
Well, I'm back with another question. We have quite a lot of questions to ask. One of the things I'll say, we are witnessing a lot of changes right now in the financial sector.
True.
And something that I've seen over time with your experiences is being able to marry corporate, long-standing companies with more agile startups. So this is like a strategy for success. We've seen it happen several times. But what are some of the tips that you give? We have some listeners who are founders, who are building out their ventures. So what's even from now you've played both sides. You're at a more established house now, and then you've also worked as the upstart, the one that's coming up. So from those angles, how would you see the best way to broker a partnership? The small upstart coming to a big giant like you, what are the things to look for? Or even as a corporate, the established partner, what would make you partner with a startup? So this is from the lens of the fintech sector.
Okay, good question. So I would say value. That's the first thing, value. Why value? Nobody wants to sit down in the room with you when you're not bringing anything to the table. So be you starting your company today or be you in the business for 10 years, what are you bringing to the table? There must definitely be a need. For bigger companies, they would say, we've been here, we have everything. But if you then go to a fintech, you're not offering value to them. Why should also the fintech sit with you? So value is important first. When that happens, Then the next thing you figure the rest out. So you need something from this person needs something from you. How can we meet in the middle? So how do we get this going? Because everybody needs everybody in this industry,
100%.
no matter how you want to look at it. A fintech who starts today needs an established bank to maybe give you cover for licenses or something. You are the big guys. You need the fintech in terms of the way they operate. You need them in terms of the way they can, come up with solutions faster. Considering that big companies can take forever to get things done. So it's important that you bring value to the table. So that value will make you both then take the conversation further.
Love it. That's pretty interesting. What's been your biggest lesson? Because I know that there's been a lot. What would you say is the biggest lesson that you've had?
I would say so positive. Let me go on the positive lesson. I think for me that would be relationships. So I've had wonderful relationships with people who today I could fall back on and call and say, hi, I'm stuck here. We need to figure this out together, and they will be more than happy to, make it happen, and all of that. So relationship is the biggest positive lesson for me. And then I think on the other side of it, I would say communication. It's important to communicate. Keep talking. Don't keep quiet.
I remember Dr. Buki said it last week too. You have to toot your horn. You have to keep talking. You have to keep letting people know what you're about, what you're doing, what are you up to.
Absolutely.
Amanda, you want to ask something?
Yeah, so I even wanted to just go directly into targets. So first, because obviously I like some gist, juicy information. So can you give us like a scenario where you had a target, like you had targets that were choking at the time. So what I really want to get out of the conversation is, how do you determine when a target is unrealistic, or when do you now say, okay, this needs more action or motivation, because it's quite tricky. So I want to know a real experience that you had. I don't want to call any of the places you started at, but okay. I know that you've been one of the first team members at a startup before, and I want to know how you were able to manage that. Because I saw that you also went on to spend quite some time there. So I really want to hear the story of just how you managed almost unrealistic expectations that come with even just that territory.
Yeah, okay, so good one. I would say, first off, data and experience. So what do I mean by data and experience? When a company tells you you need to achieve ABC, from experience you can tell if it's realistic or not. What does the data say? Is this partnership going to work, or is this target going to work? Is it something that we can achieve within the time frame? If it's not, first and first, go have conversation with management. So this you've given me, we need to sit down and talk about this. So based on my experience, based on the data I'm seeing in this direction, we need to make some adjustments. And once you get that figured out, then you should be fine. Another thing you can also do is, sometimes when you've had these conversations, even though they are huge, it might not be a case of reducing those targets. It might just be a case of, I need resources. I need more hands. I need certain tools to make it happen, just to make the whole process faster and easier. And I'm sure by the time you bring that kind of thing to management, they would hear you, because they're looking out for solutions. So if you're bringing solutions to the table, why not? But first off, experience data, very important.
So you mentioned experience data, but for someone who is starting newly, or you're changing sectors, like you've never done partnerships before, but you're bringing some transferable skills, what kind of, would I say, metrics should you be checking for, even with the data? What sort of information should you see if this target is realistic or not? Because it happens a lot that some professionals in a different sector are brought in for maybe, again, sometimes people are headhunted for their profile. They're headhunted for maybe the brand or things like that, and they're coming into a new sector. And you say data and experience, but that's lost on this person, for instance. So I just want, for someone starting out, to say, what should they be looking for? I get a target now that just says I'm supposed to sign 10 strategic partners by month end, or for example. What data do I need to look back on to rely on whether this is actionable, or if this is even possible or not? So I don't have the experience. I'm new. They brought me in because I'm new and shiny. How do I make it work? So that's what I want to hear as well.
Okay, so let me answer from two directions. So first, I'll say from a newbie. You're new in the industry. You're told, okay, go handle this. First thing first is relax.
Breathe.
Relax, breathe. Okay, so once you've taken a good, a good deep breath, sigh of relief, you're fine. I think the next thing is you need to understand the industry you're in. I don't think it makes a lot of sense, in my opinion, where you have a very deep background in, say, finance, and tomorrow you're told to come lead partnerships in the hospitality. You would definitely struggle
Yeah.
because that's a different ballgame entirely. Yes, you have the basic knowledge in terms of experience of what to do, but this is a different industry. You don't know how it works. It's not the same, right? So understand your industry. When you know your industry properly and you have like relevant data to say, these are my competitors. This is the company itself. This is where we're going, and all of that. You can then structure things around. So you need to understand that first. If you do not understand your industry, you would struggle. Now, in terms of data, so data is always everywhere. You need to just know what you're looking for and where that data is. But there's data, regardless of if it's your first day on the job or you've been doing it forever. So when you know what you're looking for, you then go find that data. You then back up with whatever hypothesis you have that, okay, so this and this is what I need to do. Then you should be fine after that.
Okay. I want to ask one question before we go on a quick break.
Okay.
The question is around the KPIs now. I mean, it's it's usually like I said, most people are not afraid to meet their targets. Like when you give them numbers, yes, they're happy to. But again, you mentioned if you're moving from one industry to the other, and you're good with partnership, you're good with sales, you're an amazing salesperson. You know how to sell water and air, things that are free. You know how to sell it. But now the thing now is you're in a new industry, and you know that this KPI is like, man, how do I do it? So as a professional starting in partnerships with those mad KPIs, what would be the things, like maybe 4-5 things that will be like the touch points that they need to figure out, like how do I start? What are those things to meet their target? What would it be?
So I would answer this way. I would say, whatever target you get, break it down. Don't get overwhelmed when the company comes to meet you and say, okay, for this FY, we're going to, I don't know, say on board 10 million customers. You're like, oh my God, how do I get that? 10 million customers is a lot.
Yes.
Right. So first, relax. It's a year. Break it down into quarter, into months, and into weeks. You need to have a strategy first, but you need to also have that target breaking down. That way, you can understand what is expected of you within a certain time frame. And then next thing is, since you already have a strategy, you now follow through with it.
Amazing.
But breaking it down, very important. You get overwhelmed.
Is there a specific way to break it down? Like, okay, let's start from their monthly KPI. So at the end of the month, you're supposed to achieve XYZ. What would be the first thing in breaking down?
Okay, so for me, let me use the same analogy I was using earlier. A company says on board 10 million customers, right? The first question for me would be, okay, 10 million customers. What type of customers are we even looking for, right? The next thing would be, what would a 6-month target look like for me? That means to be half. I need to be halfway through my target by 6 months. By the quarter, I need to be, say, 1/4 of my way through. So in the first 3 months, I should have onboarded, say, like, I don't know, 2.5 million customers, thereabouts, if it's a 10 million target, right? Then if I have that already sorted out, of course, the next thing is, how do I then find these customers? What type of customers am I looking for? Where do I find them? And then you just put that strategy in. But without breaking it down, you see 10 million, like, do I need to start going to Palogo and give everybody phone?
I'm telling you, you can faint.
So that's important. So once you have that part figured out, you have the target breaking down, you should be fine.
Okay, so let's just go out. Let's go on a short break. We'll be right back. Just keep the questions coming. We'll meet you guys soon.
How is it? We're back. And we're with Vir-Bon. I still can't pronounce his last name, but he's such a good sport. I just want to ask you, just to share one of your most memorable partnership experiences. I know that you have a rap sheet, but just want to hear, like, what was the most memorable for you?
Okay, so I won't go into details, but there was this partner I remember we have been pursuing for a while. Eventually, we closed out on the partnership, and there was this joy when the numbers started trickling in, the transactions,
Yeah,
and you're like, oh my God.
I did
After all the
this.
negotiations,
Yes.
after all the back and forth, after all the, oh, we cannot agree to these terms, you need to go back and adjust.
How long did this take?
It took close to 6 months, thereabouts, but it was a lot of back and forth because we had a time frame to close out on it. So we had to push a lot of people, both internal and external, talking to legal guy, please, this time we need to figure out a way around it. What do we do and all of that. But I think satisfaction for me was knowing everything I went through was worth it. Seeing those numbers trickle in, that was the joy for me.
So
Uh,
much
And that
joy.
made it worth it.
Was there a big bonus attached to this?
I would never think I'm making that.
No, but that's another thing that I would like to talk about. But I mean, if you're still watching us, I would like for you to call. You can call us, ask questions directly, or even send us a message, and we'll be happy to get Vir-Bon to answer. So you can actually call 070-2500-7749, and you can also call this number 0701 424 2420. The question I want to ask you now is regarding the pressure versus motivation, because there's a thin line. You just talked about how it takes a long time for some partnership deals to close. There are certain, I don't want to say employers, but there are certain people, because this is from experience, right? So we run a partnership organization whereby we help different brands to get partners depending on the project or initiatives that they're working with, and we do strictly B2B. So, in your experience, what would you say is the when it comes to the motivation and the pressure of getting this customer? This is not even, let's forget B2C now, because I think you've addressed B2C. B2B now, when you're trying to get businesses to come on board your product or your service, between the pressure and then the motivation of, oh my God, there's this amazing big brand that I'm trying to close, but the journey to get to the sales is usually like a lot of stress. So can you just give us that the motivation is there, but that pressure is also there? Can you just talk to us about the pressure versus the motivation?
Good one. So I would start this way. I would say there is almost no way you would get a job in Nigeria that doesn't come with pressure. The economic situation is quite challenging for a lot of businesses, and they want to hit certain numbers. You have investors, you have people who are demanding, we need this number, you need to hit this number, within certain time. So there will be pressure, right? However, let me say for the B2B space, what works for me is this, communication. And let me explain what I mean by communication in this regards. So you already have internal and external stakeholders that you are, actually, like with management and all that, you're answerable to. When you keep an open communication with these people, it helps. B2B can be very challenging. Why? Because there are decision makers on the other side of the table and also on your side of the table.
Right.
And sometimes funny things could make the whole thing just tank. Sometimes, okay, let me give you an example, but let me not mention names. You could be dealing with a cross-border conversation. So you're trying to partner with another a company in another country. And a funny thing could happen where, say, government could change hands. Management could change. What do you do? But it's important that you have an open line of communication where you're keeping your stakeholders updated that this is what is going on, this is what we have done, this is where we are. So if anything gets to change, they're already aware. They are not in shock. And it's not the case of, oh, why is this happening? Why am I just hearing about this?
Yeah.
It's also important to have open communication with your partners as well. That way, you're already ahead of whatever is coming. Because sometimes if you have a good relationship with the organization trying to partner with, they could give you that heads up that, oh, this might be coming. Get ready, just in case. And that way your company can either make some adjustments to your target and say, okay, we cannot go this direction anymore. Let's, turn it this way. But if you then decide to do things on your own, you would then face that struggle where if it tanks, you then take the blame.
I'm coming to you, but you talk a lot about going back to management. You've
Yeah.
said that a lot. You know that some people do not know that they can actually go back to management or go back to their boss to say, can we review this KPI together? Can we actually look at it realistically? Because typically you've been able to come up with your strategy, because you mentioned you need to have a strategy for that role. So you have your strategy, you've looked at the numbers, and you've been able to, analyze to say, oh, this is possible, this is not possible. I like the fact that you're talking about go back. Take it back to your management team so that everybody can understand the blockers you are most likely going to experience, because based on your strategy you've already seen it ahead of time to know if this is going to happen. Thank you so much for this. I'm really excited that you're here once again, and I also like that you're touching this topic. Amanda, do you have any question for him?
Yes, I still have a lot of questions for him. So you've worked a lot in the financial sector, and your role has really been in partnerships. I want to know some of the KPIs that you were appraised on. So this we really want to break things down. So no pressure, no names.
You don't need to call
but
anybody's name.
we just want to know what some of the KPIs that you've seen over the years are. So you can mention some of the things that people use to appraise your work. So let's hear some of them.
Interesting. Okay, so let me answer this way. In a broad response will be in volume and value, because it's financial. So whenever my KPI has already been set, I look at it from volume and value. So in the sense that if I bring partner ABC in, what would I get in turn? So are you going to help me get to this certain number of customers, which will count as my volume? Those customers, how many transactions would they do that I get my value from there? So those things that's a broad response, but when you then break it down,
I still want I want you to break it down.
Break it down, please.
Yes, please. And then I don't want to assume. So KPIs that we mentioned are key performance indicators. So that's what basically when you get a job description. I realize that we have to go down into the details of things, because some people are actually just starting out, and this is for everyone. When you get your job description, it usually comes with some key responsibilities, and even with those key responsibilities, you have to be able to measure success in that role. So these KPIs that we're talking about, performance indicators, is when you get a check, maybe they say get 10 customers a month. That's a KPI, that's a performance indicator that you're working. So roles come with certain KPIs. So you have to know, okay, yes, I've done this, yes, I've done that, yes, I've done that. And I'll mention here for partnership professionals is that your metrics should be very clear, just so that you know that you're being assessed based on your work and not just by internal politics. So that's why I want Vir-Bon to just give examples of some of the actual KPIs that he has had in his contracts over the years.
Okay. So let me answer this way.
Vir-Bon has signed plenty NDAs.
You cannot even call anybody's name.
Yeah, so I have to be very careful.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
So I would share an experience with one of my previous employers. Still wouldn't mention names. In this case, it was my KPI for that FY. That's how we like to do ours. We just have like the FY stretch and then break it down, all of that. So
FY is financial year.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just we want to make sure that people that are just starting can really catch on.
Okay, makes sense. All right. So so for the FY, would have say on board 10 partners, for example. Now those 10 partners, they should be able to generate us XYZ number of volumes in terms of what we're looking for. Because the kind of partnership I do involves where we need you to take us to a certain level. In terms of what we're tracking as a business, right? So we'll come from the angle to say, okay, we need 10 partners for the FY to achieve this number of customers, and this number of customers to give us this number of volume, and then we'll attach numbers to them. But that's in a broad way. I don't want to go into details.
Okay. So let me ask, you're the co-founder of Partnership Alliance. Please tell us how you started Partnership Alliance, what Partnership Alliance is about, and how is it going.
How we can even join.
Just wait. Because already when you mentioned it to me yesterday, I was like, this is what we need.
Oh my God.
Because honestly, anyway, let me allow you define, talk to us about, Partnership Alliance. But FYI, guys, that's the company that he also runs. And for me, it's a relief. it's a huge relief that we have a platform that has partnership managers. Oh, anyway, let me allow you.
It's okay. So Partnership Alliance, basically, how did it come to be?
Yes.
So over the years, I noticed that it was a struggle getting relevant materials to help me with my work.
So,
Yes, I had contacts in the industry, but not every time they're available to, have those conversations with you. I've been fortunate to have persons who have, yeah, let's set up 30 minutes, 1 hour. Let's crash this out. But I also noticed there's not enough material. There's not enough quality material to fall back on. And no, I did a bit of search. I couldn't find enough community that was easy for me to go and join and say, hey guys, I'm struggling with this. How do I navigate this? And that moment of truth happened when, so this is what happened. So let me put it this way. I told you I was in product at a point in time. I was able to succeed in that role because I had a lot of people who were in products. It was easy. There were, as soon as I was done my training, there were places I could, go to, and we'll have that discussion. And I'm like, oh yeah, you need to do this as a product manager. Go to partnership, and I was like, who do I talk to? Who's with this experience? It was difficult to find.
it is difficult to find.
So that made me realize that we definitely need a community. We definitely need a space where people could come, ask those questions, and people who are experienced should, be able to provide you that response, because you don't have to make every single mistake.
God bless you.
People have made those mistakes for you.
God bless you.
They've learned. Let them share the experience.
Oh gosh.
Let them help you avoid those mistakes so that you make new mistakes.
Yeah.
And then your mistakes or learnings from your mistake will help the next generation.
I just love what you said. Like you're so like you this is amazing. Like I don't want to cry. You know how people will say because they went through hell, you too, you will go through hell. In my time when I just started partnerships, I did this, I did that, I crossed fence, I closed the office at 11 in the midnight. Some people, when they had it hard, nobody is disputing their experience, right? But the fact that they want the next person to suffer too is what I don't understand. And I'm happy that you have a platform that is helping partnership managers, business development managers to meet their target. I started AB World because I want everybody to work together. We've all been doing this thing by ourselves. We've all been working in silos, and then you're making mistakes that shouldn't be. Because if I have a Vir-Bon that I will ask questions around partnership, around deals that I'm about to close, I will get amazing insights, and we can't even share this money because maybe it's because they don't want to share money. No, but really. Maybe it's because you don't want to share money, but with what you've said, I'm very excited about, Partnership Alliance, and I would like to know, Amanda, we are joining right after this.
We might have a very stringent vetting process, so maybe we wet the ground a bit by doing this. So hopefully that should help as well. And we are really talking about people just coming on and people starting in their careers. And you said quite a bit about your journey, and I appreciate that, even though you couldn't share specifics, but I really appreciate that. But there's something I would like to ask again because we're talking about new jobs. Is there something that will make you turn down an offer?
Absolutely.
I want to hear more about that. This
Please.
offer is non-existent, so please go deep into your value system and why you would turn down a particular offer.
Okay. It's a good question. I've actually turned down offers before, so it's not the first time for me, right? But there are a couple of things I look out for if I make that decision. And that happens during the interview process. So before I take an interview with you, first I go research about your company. What do people do? What are people saying about you on other platforms? Let me not mention names, but other platforms. What's the impression of your ex-staffs? What do they say about you? Now, when I've done that research, we're not going to interview proper. After you've done your own questions, I start asking mine. So when they give you that chance to say, do you have any questions for us? Please and please, those listening, don't lose that advantage. Don't say you don't have questions. Ask. It's very important because you might get frustrated and find yourself in a very terrible situation. So for me, what I do, I take that advantage to then get serious questions in. So for example, who am I reporting to? If the person is on the call, perfect, I then face you. How do you like your job done? What are your expectations of me in this role? Why are you even hiring now? Now, those responses could shed more light into if you should work with that kind of person. I've turned out some jobs before where I know this, the way this person is answering, we will have problem, right? So those things are important. Also, why your research is also important, as I mentioned earlier, is because you get to understand if the company aligns with where you're going to as a professional.
As a person, as an
You
individual.
have a direction. I want to assume. If you
assume.
don't, then you need to have one. You need to know what your personal goal for 5 years, 10 years, 20 is. Do you want to keep doing this job for that long? If yes, you now need to know the type of companies you'll be working for at year 2 to 5 of your life. Professionally, I mean now. Year 6 to 10, professionally. There are some companies you can be doing some things for when you're already like 15 years, 20 years already in the industry. So those are things you need to clarify. You need to understand. And it's not every gig that come your way or every job that come your way you take.
Yes.
You need to sieve them out properly. I understand that Nigeria, the economy is hard.
Yeah.
So anything
is
you see,
life-in.
you jump on. But trust me, the whole pain that will come out of not doing your proper due diligence is not worth whatever you be paid for at the end of the month. So do your due diligence. Be sure everything checks out. Be sure it aligns with your goal, your career goals. And then please feel free to take the jump.
Follow-up question to that. What will you do when you've entered and you have seen that, it's not what I think? What will make you walk away from a job that you've started?
Okay. So let me answer this way. If I'm working with somebody that is not knowledgeable about the role and you're not willing to learn, it's a problem. That is a red flag for me. I can't work with you. You don't even understand what you're doing. You don't know, as a line manager in this case, if I have a line manager in that regard, it will be a problem because when I'm sharing my experience with you and say, let's go this way because this will help us get here, you then come back and say, no, because I'm the boss, I want us to take this direction. And I know fully well that will put us in trouble. So that could make me walk away. The company culture, very important. The company culture. If the culture in the organization is, doesn't align with what my own personal, preference is, we would have a problem. So those are a couple of things that might make it difficult for me to take a job or walk away from a job if I'm already inside.
I understand.
Yeah.
We'll take a break and we'll be right back. Wale.
Looking to take your business to the next level through partnerships? Then join us every Thursday at 10 a.m. for Partner Up.
Whether you're an entrepreneur, marketing, sales, or partnership professional, Partner Up is here to give you the tools you need to succeed.
From in-depth interviews with industry experts
To real-world case studies of successful partnership strategies that drive innovation and business growth.
we dive deep into what it takes to form successful partnerships.
Thursdays, 10 a.m.
Don't miss Partner Up.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges.
With the growing youth population and very little engagement.
That is a ticking time bomb.
We're blessed people with a diverse culture who have a lot to say.
And yes, we are talking.
It is important we drive conversations that informs, inspires, and influences thoughts and actions.
If we say there is beauty in diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture.
We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation.
As we are the hope for the future,
Yesterday's conversation shaped today. What are you saying to shape your tomorrow?
We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
Imagine the world where the voices of the youth finally get the spotlight they deserve.
Welcome to Ways Breakfast, the groundbreaking show where young minds unite together to tackle issues that truly matter.
We're flipping the script on traditional morning talk shows, and this is your chance to hear the youth speak out.
We're not just skimming headlines, we're diving deep into the heart of topics that impact us all.
From politics to governance, tech innovations, mental health, and trendy social issues.
We don't just discuss, we ignite conversations that inspire change and spark action.
Join us every morning for fresh, young, and vibrant perspectives
that empowers the next generation to make a difference.
Start your day right with Ways Breakfast, because when the youth speak, the world listens. Ways Breakfast, weekdays at 8 a.m. live on Upgrade TV.
Welcome back, everyone. If you're just tuning in, we are Partner Up, and today we have Vir-Bon on the show with us, and we've had amazing conversations regarding new job, my targets. If you have any comments, please, as you're watching this, just go to the comment section and please type out your questions or your comments. We'd really, really love to get your feedback. We started this show again for you to get, a lot of information and a lot of gist about partnerships, and that's why we're here. If you haven't followed us, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, Upgrade TV, and also on Instagram, you can follow Partner Up at PartnerUp_AB World to get, updated. Vir-Bon, thank you for being here. So before we go, because we've run past time, could you give us like a summary of like takeaways? What should we take away from this conversation regarding new job, my target?
All right, so good one. Let me put it this way. Let me answer your question this way, or wrap up the conversation this way. There would always be challenges to, and this is to people who are just entering the partnership space. If you are a year, 2 or 5 years on the job, but you're just entering that role called partnerships, you'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
You will be fine. But it's also important to know that with the role comes sometimes, difficult targets. But it's important that you work with people. Don't isolate yourself. Don't do it on your own.
Yeah.
Reach out. Speak to your contacts if you have any. And if you don't, please have a good relationship with your colleagues. They'll be very helpful along the way. Rely on available resources you can find online. They would help to navigate. And I think with that, you should be good.
How can we join Partnership Alliance? That's what you want to ask, Abby.
I was waiting to ask the question.
Please tell the viewers as well.
Where do we send our applications to?
Okay, so for a start, you can just go on our LinkedIn page, Partnership Alliance, but the handle is In Partnerships.
Partnerships.
Yes, that's the handle. And then you see some information about what the community is about, then you can just send us a DM. We'll respond.
Amanda, do you want to just ask him one more question?
Well, he has said a lot, and I really appreciate that. One of the things I've taken away from this is that sometimes you could join after doing your due diligence, and it's okay to walk away.
Absolutely.
It's okay to walk away if your values are not aligned. So it's been great having Vir-Bon here with us. Final parting word, please tell us your last name.
It's okay. So my last name is Ovbiagele. That's how it's pronounced.
Okay. So I'll try again. I'll keep trying. That might be my application process for Partnership Alliance. But it was so great having you. Thank you so much. We're going to go into further conversations, how to sign partnerships with Vir-Bon. So thank you so much for coming.
Having me here. It's been an interesting conversation
Thank
as well.
you.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you this same time on Thursday, 10 a.m. on Upgrade TV on YouTube.